Another thing to look for in cleaning, even though this coin has a little bit of toning, it also has some light hairlines visible on the obverse especially, and a little bit on the reverse. And hairlines are usually a sign of being wiped or improperly cleaned also. So if the coin is heavily hairlined, PCTS normally will not agree to clean. Finally, clean coins also will sometimes display artificial toning. This is another example of unnatural color on a coin that was added to make it look less clean than it was. So this, of course, is another example. This coin has two sins. One, it's been cleaned, and then second, it's been artificially colored. So this is another thing that we want to keep a lookout for. Next is a planchet flaw. That would be a metal impurity or defect in the planchet. Now, if it's a small, unobtrusive planchet flaw, that's acceptable. Large ones, badly placed or distracting, we will reject. And it also depends on the coin a little bit. For example, a colonial coin, which was very prone to planchet flaws, we can accept colonials with some pretty serious, what might be pretty serious planchet flaws in most other coins, because they're sort of part of the colonial process. But on a Morgan silver dollar, you don't see them very often. So a planchet flaw that's pretty obvious to the naked eye might be cause to reject a Morgan dollar. The reasons planchet flaws are found is usually the separation of the surface from the core, and that can occur due to metal impurities. It's similar to a peeling lamination, but there's no danger of further damage. We'll discuss peeling laminations in a little bit, but that's more separation of surface from the core. Maybe a crack in the planchet due to impurities in the annealing process. That's when the metal is molten and then cools. And again, it's very often found on colonials and early copper coins due to the impurities in the copper. The purity of the copper on early large cents was highly variable. So you see planchet flaws most often on copper coins. This is an example on a colonial. This is a Vigio cent that you'll see, which has pretty serious planchet flaws on both sides of the coin. Now, a little less serious than this, we might grade it, but a coin such as this with a flaw this serious, we probably would not. Here again is an early large cent. This is a 1793 Reese cent, and you see the planchet flaw in the upper right portion of the obverse. And once again, that is a pretty serious deep planchet flaw, and that coin, and we would not be able to put a grade on this coin. Here is an Eisenhower dollar, and if you look under the ear on the back neck of Eisenhower, you'll see the planchet flaw in this coin, and it's pretty rare to see. You very rarely see planchet flaws on modern coins, but they do exist. And this is another coin that would definitely be no graded by PCTS because of that flaw. Next up is altered surface. And this covers anything added to the surface of the coin to improve its appearance or cover marks. This would be things like adding wax, dental wax, putty, lacquer, nose grease, etc. Sometimes called thumbing the coin to put putty to fill in marks or scratches. Lacquering the coin, usually copper coins to protect them will result in a no grade, simply because it's too difficult to see the surface underneath all this. So usually altered surfaces are an attempt to cover marks, scratches, or other surface damage. Again, usually with a putty of some sort. Effort to mask prior work on a coin, or sometimes to preserve a coin from further color change or deterioration. And again, this is unfortunate because in the attempt to preserve the coin, you actually do more damage to it. And again, it's you see it on most often found with putty on proof gold and silver, and you usually find lacquer is usually found on copper and nickel coins. Although you can also, of course, find putty on nickel as well. And a couple examples of this, if you take a look at the reverse of this 14D penny, you'll see the remnants of someone's attempt to put lacquer on the coin.